You do not have to distrust every single memory. You have to protect yourself from your own brain. Here is the smarter path. Stop, right now. Think of one memory you would bet your life on. A birthday, a fight. The moment you heard something that changed everything. You can see it. You can feel it. It is vivid, specific, and absolutely real to you. Here is what nobody told you. That memory, your brain did not record it like a camera. It reconstructed it. Every single time you remembered it, your brain quietly rewrote it, filling gaps, borrowing details from other moments, inserting emotions you felt later and pasting them onto the past. In 1974, psychologist Elizabeth Loftus proved in a landmark study that 74% of people could be made to remember a stop sign that was never there. Not confused people, normal people. People exactly like you. So here is the question that should unsettle you. Which of your most certain memories is the one your brain built from scratch? There is a moment most people hit when they first learn about false memories. A fork in the road, and which path you take decides whether this information frees you or quietly haunts you for years. On one side, you have what 90% of people do when they stumble across this topic. They feel a spike of discomfort, maybe say, "Huh, that is interesting," and then close the tab. They go back to their day. They keep trusting every memory without question, keep arguing with people about what really happened, keep making decisions based on a past that may have been partially invented. On the other side, there is a completely different response. A smaller group of people, the ones who actually understand how memory works, use this knowledge to see themselves more clearly, build better relationships, and stop being manipulated by their own emotional history. The difference between these two groups is not intelligence. It is not willpower. It is one simple shift in how they understand what memory actually is. Path A looks completely reasonable. It is the path of trust. You trust your memories because they feel real. And why would you not? That is how memory is supposed to work, right? Your brain stored what happened and now you recall it. Simple. The problem is that this is not even close to how memory actually works. And neuroscience has known this since at least the 1990s. But the mainstream never caught up. So Path A people walk through life doing three very specific things that quietly cause damage. First, they use their memories as evidence. In arguments, they say, "I know exactly what you said," with total conviction, even when they are completely wrong. Second, they let old emotional memories drive current decisions. They avoid situations, people, or opportunities because of how they remember a past experience, not how that experience actually was. Third, they feel a deep, unshakable sense of personal identity built on a story of their past that has been edited, compressed, and emotionally colored by every mood they were in every time they remembered it. And here is the part that should stop you cold. They have no idea any of this is happening. Here is where Path A actually takes you. In 1992, psychologist Jennifer Freyd introduced the concept of betrayal trauma, the idea that what we remember about who hurt us and how gets distorted the most precisely because those memories carry the highest emotional charge. The brain does not preserve emotional memories more accurately. It distorts them more. So the memories you are most certain about, the ones attached to pain, shame, anger, or love, are statistically the ones most likely to have been rewritten. A 2019 study published in Nature Neuroscience found that each time you recall a memory, you destabilize it. Your brain reopens the file, edits it with your current emotional state, and saves it again. That means the more you replay a painful memory, the less accurate it becomes. Path. A people spend years, sometimes entire lifetimes, being directed by an internal narrative that is part truth and part fiction, and they will defend it to the end. The cost? Relationships damaged by arguments about a past that neither person actually remembers correctly. Identities built on stories that were quietly rewritten by a brain trying to protect itself. Path B starts with a single, uncomfortable but liberating idea. Your memory is not a recording. It is a story. And like any story, it has a narrator, your emotional state at the time of recall. When you internalize this, everything shifts. You stop treating your memories as facts and start treating them as data, useful, meaningful, but not infallible. Path B people do not distrust themselves. They do something more sophisticated. They hold their memories loosely. They verify when it matters. They notice when a strong emotional reaction to a present situation might actually be a distorted echo of a past memory. In 1997, psychologist Daniel Schachter at Harvard identified what he called the 7 sins of memory, one of them being misattribution, where you remember something accurately but completely wrong about where it came from or who said it. Path B people know about misattribution. So when they feel certain, they ask one quiet question. Is this memory, or is this the story I built around a memory? That one question changes everything. Here is what actually happens when you start walking Path B. Your arguments get shorter. Not because you stop caring, because you stop treating your version of events as sworn testimony. You start saying, I remember it this way, instead of, that is what happened. That single linguistic shift has saved relationships that were weeks from ending. Your self-image becomes more flexible and more honest. You stop being locked inside a rigid story of who you are based on what you remember happening to you. You realize that the version of yourself you have been protecting might be based on memories that were edited 100 times since the original event. And perhaps most powerfully, you stop being manipulated by your own past. Advertisers, political messaging, even toxic people in your life use emotional memory against you constantly. They remind you of pain. They reframe your history. They make you remember things in a way that serves them. Path B gives you the awareness to catch that in real time. You become someone who understands the machine inside your own head. And that is one of the rarest things on earth. So how do you actually choose Path B? Because knowing about it and living it are two completely different things. Here is what makes this hard. Your brain is wired to feel certainty. Uncertainty feels like a threat. When someone challenges your memory of an event, your amygdala, the threat detection center of your brain, fires the same way it would if someone physically threatened you. That is why memory arguments get so heated so fast. It literally feels like an attack. Choosing Path B means training yourself to tolerate memory uncertainty. It means building a new reflex, one where your first response to a strong memory-based conviction is curiosity instead of defense. Ask, when did I first form this memory? How many times have I recalled it since? What was I feeling the last time I replayed it? These are not questions that weaken you. They are questions that make your understanding of yourself more accurate than 95% of the people around you. The science backs this completely. Metacognition, thinking about how you think, is one of the single strongest predictors of emotional resilience and decision-making quality. Path B is not soft. It is the harder, smarter choice. The first step is deceptively simple. Start documenting experiences in real time before memory has a chance to rewrite them. This is not journaling in the vague, write your feelings sense. This is forensic self-documentation. Write down what actually happened. Who said what you felt in the moment. Not what you think happened 2 weeks later. Not the version you told 3 friends. The raw version, as close to the event as possible. Forensic psychologist Julia Shaw, who literally studies false memories for a living, wrote an entire book on this called The Memory Illusion, published in 2016. She argues that the single most powerful thing you can do is create an external record of your own experience. Here is where we close the loop. You came into this video with a memory you were certain about. You leave it knowing that certainty about memory is one of the most common forms of self-deception that exists, and that every single person around you is experiencing it too. That does not make memory useless. It makes understanding memory one of the most powerful tools you can carry. The people who get this, who actually internalize it, move through the world differently. They argue less and understand more. They hold their identity with more flexibility and more honesty. They stop being prisoners of a past that was partially invented. That is the real gift inside something that sounds unsettling at first. If this cracked something open for you, share it with someone who would genuinely benefit from it. Not to show off, but because this is the kind of information that actually changes how people treat each other. Subscribe if you want more of this. New videos every week on the psychology behind why you do what you do. And go check your oldest, most certain memory tonight. Notice what happens when you hold it just a little less tightly. Disclaimer. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing constitutes professional advice of any kind.